Hey, we're trying out something new with some green screen setup this month, trying to get the audio and video synced up to do more of seated takes, see how that goes. Let me know what you think. Anyway, playing some catch-up here with some of 2022's award season things I didn't really get to run full reviews for when they were out, and honestly, I avoided this one because I just don't like doing reviews like this for movies I don't like in the way I didn't like this one. Now, right up front, I didn't think The Whale was very good. It's stagey, it's overwrought, it feels like Bizarro World version of a sitcom a lot of the time, and the grotesquerie and unpleasantness only feels like the direct aesthetic intent half as off as I imagine was probably the case, which are all criticisms that can be handily dismissed as not getting it because it's based on a play and it's very dark, so it's supposed to be that way. But the execution is everything, and while yes, I get what Aronofsky is probably appearing to be going for here and keeping close to the staginess of a stage play, right down to the rattled off, here's the monologue we've been doing twice a week daily reading, and insistence on head-on shooting, I don't think it works here, so yeah. More substantively, given the only actual reason anyone is supposed to give a shit about this movie, yes, I'm as happy as anyone that Brendan Fraser is having this big movie comeback moment, and yes, he's very good here, despite what I otherwise think about the film, but I also think part of why I'm inclined to agree that he's very good here is that he's turning in a performance of nuance with material that's deeply beneath the level and skill and effort he's putting into it, which is a complicated criticism to levy at a movie that, let's be real here, most people are never going to watch, and I can't really blame them for in that choice. Because it's hard to convey without having the reference point in front of you that an actor is giving a real performance in a shallow, mildly to insistently insulting cartoon of a role otherwise, which is what I think is going on here. Now anyway, what we've got going on in The Whale here is Aronofsky back in addiction as metaphor for self-punishment that he definitely thinks the protagonist deserves, but will still very much judge them for via the camera mode from Requiem for a Dream, but this time overeating and chronic obesity replaces heroin. Fraser's character is a housebound, extremely overweight man dying of various complications inflicted by his lifestyle. He's clearly attempting to kill himself with food because he's racked with guilt over life decisions that we will spend the whole film gradually discovering, and he makes his living teaching English lit classes online via Zoom because he's an English professor also, specifically fixated on Melville's Moby Dick, hence the title of the movie is The Whale. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. He has a nurse played by Hong Chau who tries to take care of him, even though she gets that he's actively trying to self-destruct because they have a shared history together, which we'll also find out over the course of the movie. He develops an unexpected secondary relationship with a missionary who stops by and tries to help him as well. That goes about as well as you'd expect. His main focus, other than food and misery, is trying to in vain reconnect with his estranged teenage daughter who hates him because reasons, which is a seemingly impossible task that's clearly a bad idea for everyone involved that can only destroy him, but he pursues it anyway because in grade school they tell you Moby Dick is either the first or most important metaphorical work on the subject of self-destructive obsession, and some writers never outgrow showing that they understood that reference point. Look, I'm sorry if you think this sounds cynical on my part, but as soon as that dropped as the reason this is called that, I metaphorically shit my heart, stomach, and intestines out of my asshole onto the theater floor in an instant recognition that I knew every dreary, obvious, beat-for-beat point this was going to try to bash me over the head with for however long Aronofsky felt he needed to drag that point out, which is a long time, and I was more than correct in most of my assumptions. There's a whole other discourse that could be had about the ethics of fat suits and the use of real disability as allegory, but the film isn't even deeper interested in the subject enough to engage with those, in my opinion. Whatever point it's supposed to be or Aronofsky thinks he's making, the on-screen presentation just amounts to an alternate one-note trauma porn and sullen freak show disguised as serious drama, which is why it's a minor miracle that Fraser does manage to pull real pathos and relatability from a character that doesn't give him much to work with organically. I'm glad he's back. I'm glad he found whatever meaning he did in a role that allowed him to do what he did with it. I hope he stays back and moves on with roles that are a lot better than this. I give this one a 4 out of 10. I didn't care for it. Feel free to tell me why I'm wrong.